Alright, so we have some big mega gamer news to talk about today. So you guys most likely remember the leaked combat pack that happened months ago at this point, and now has been substantiated with the actual reveal trailer, which is right here. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Yeah, it's real, right? The characters, at least, we knew are actually coming. And yeah, Homelander, by the way, I just finished season 1 of The Boys. Wow, I can't stand him. But anyway, we finally have confirmation about the Kameo fighters as well. And this is arguably to me, more exciting in a lot of ways. Like, I love Takeda, right? I'm so excited to see Takeda. But outside of that, these characters on the lineup for the actual cameos are very interesting, So right here, we have Farah, Johnny Cage, Chameleon, Movado, and Tremor, included as cameo fighters in the Combat Pack 1. So something that's interesting about this right off rip is that we have seen Chameleon. She is in the Umgadi trailer right here around Tanya. Let's see, it should be like right here. Yeah, so there is Chameleon right there on the right side. I'm assuming that she can change colors based off of who she's fighting with as a cameo fighter. However, this is definitely a story cutscene. This isn't part of the actual like a normal match or anything. This is in the story mode. So that's interesting. We're going to be able to see Cameo Chameleon in the story mode before we can play with them in the DLC. But anyway, so with that in mind, there's Chameleon. We also have Movado and Tremor. Crazy. So Tremor and Farah are both MKX reps. Granted, Tremor was introduced before MKX, but that was like his full rebirth. That was his main introduction to the like mainstream Mortal Kombat space. And so a lot of players grew to love Tremor from the addition of him to MKX. And then Movado, that one's going to be interesting because Movado doesn't really do anything. Like, he has Cabal's like swords or whatever you call them, his hooks. But Movado was an interesting character. He had his own clan that wasn't the Black Dragon. I believe it was actually called the Red Dragon. But he will be a cameo fighter, and now that we have Darius as a cameo, which they talked about in this interview as well, which shout out to KSIK for this post, by the way. But in this, they talk about how Darius is in it. Yeah, Darius, the classic character, returns as a cameo fighter. So now that we have that in mind, we now know what an addition of a character like this from the 3D era can look like. Like, he's here at the trailer. I thought this was like an old costume of him. Am I crazy? I thought this was one of his alt costumes, but I might be incorrect. But either way, this does give us an idea of how they can approach Movado as well as maybe Chameleon, because I'm assuming that Chameleon will have a classic costume because all of the cameos have like a classic iteration to them in their costumes. But this Chameleon that we see in the trailer is like a new iteration of Chameleon for MK1. So we'll probably get another skin on top of this. At least I would have to guess. Okay, so here's Movado. Yeah, he's part of the Red Dragon. I think he was actually the leader of the Red Dragon. I can't remember. But anyway, here's his alt costume. Maybe they'll go with this look for him because it's more recognizable. Or, well, not necessarily actually. I think that this is more of his recognizable look, but this is more unique maybe? I don't know. I think the trench coat is kind of sick. And then it's like sleeveless on one side and then one sleeve with a shoulder pad. Like, what is this design? But I think they'll bring this version back. Is this him in the comic book series? Interesting. So yeah, I think they'll bring him back with this costume, but maybe he'll have this as another skin. But anyway, that's an interesting addition that a lot of people are going to be interested to see, I'm sure. And then we also have Johnny Cage. This is easy to expect, like, we know what this is going to be. It's just going to be classic Johnny with the green powers, so nothing too crazy there in my opinion. And then Farah. So Farah is actually really interesting. So in Farah Tor's ending in Mortal Kombat X, does this have subtitles? Okay, it does. So Farah Tor were, again, like together. They always work together. However, Farah was going to grow up, and this happens in her ending, where Farah grows up and becomes like what Tor was. And right here it says, Tor withered and died. Unfortunately, he did die. But seeing Farah come back will be very interesting, I think. So yeah, I think that this is Farah here. Now she's like the brute. She's the Tor of the relationship, which is very interesting. So will we get this version? I don't know. I think there's like a 50-50 chance that we get like a big brute version of Farah, or we also can get the smaller like MKX version of Farah. The fact that she's a cameo fighter, I think that maybe we'll get this version of her because they try and go for the classic looks for the characters in the cameo fighters, and this is as classic as you can get with her because she was only introduced in this game. So that would be interesting to see, but I'm honestly up to either or. It makes sense that they wouldn't want to bring Tor back if this is and Tor actually died. So maybe we do actually get this version of Farah. So yeah, with that said, we have Pharah, Johnny, Chameleon, Movado, and Tremor. Yeah, that's it. That is the Kameo fighters for Combat Pack 1. Let me know you guys' thoughts on this. I think that it is good choices, and that's for several reasons. I think there could have been better choices for sure. But if you look at it this way, right, Pharah we thought might never return, so we finally got her back. Tremor was super popular in MKX, and has been brought back in like the Snowblind movie, so he does have his popularity, so it makes sense to bring him back. Movado was another one of those characters that we thought we might never see again, so him being back and being a rep for the 3D era is going to be interesting. And then Chameleon is one of the perfect choices for like a cameo, one of those characters that doesn't have too much going on, but at the same time is still very unique, so bringing them as an assist character in a fighting game can actually have some merit to it and be fun to play around with. So I do think Chameleon is a good choice. Johnny Cage, again, I think that's the one I care about the least. Like, it's Johnny Cage, you know, like I don't really care. But I think that the reason they're doing this is because they have Jax and Kano and Sonya, all these classic arcade era characters as cameo fighters. So they want to kind of finish that holy trifecta, or not really a trifecta, I guess there's already 3 characters, but you know what I mean. They want to finish that group of human characters that are from the classic era. And yeah, so let me know your guys' thoughts on this. I just wanted to kind of break it down a bit for you guys and talk about all my opinions and my little thoughts about it. Oh my god, how did I almost forget? Takeda. Takeda is confirmed to be Takeda Takahashi. Where is it? Combat Pack. Takeda Takahashi. So my theory about him being Kenshi's son from the previous timeline, or if anything just being an alternate timeline version of Takeda, still stands strong. He doesn't seem to be Hanzo Asashi or some alternate character, the Takeda Takahashi. This is interesting. Again, I think they can do more unique choices, especially for the second combat pack, and then also the remaining cameo fighters on the main roster. If anything does happen, you guys know what I want the most, and that is Kameo Shujinko.